still feel like with your experience and now that you are back 100% healthy that it's your spot and everybody else is chasing you?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I've been getting most of the ones reps at this point. So I mean, that's my goal. Obviously, that's everyone's goal in that room is to be the guy. So that's what I'm going after right now.
And I'm sorry if she already asked you, but Coach talked about the need for the tight ends to specifically have a sense of urgency out there on the practice field. And I feel like you guys are doing that, and what do you think he means by that?
I think that, I mean, he asks a lot out of his tight ends. I mean, we're all over the field, so I think that when he says that, he means that we've got to be even more locked in because we're doing all kinds of different stuff, running on the field, off the field, 10 personnel. So we've got to be really locked in out there and have a really good grasp on the offense.
How much does the faster pace affect that since you got to move around a lot, you got less time to get there?
Yeah, I mean, well, we were a little up-tempo last year, so that certainly helped transitioning to this offense, but it's definitely faster, especially just in practice. It's definitely a noticeable difference in pace. So it's been a little different, but we're starting to get used to it.
And do you think that's going to help as far as stamina or just quickness overall, or maybe hitting the defense before they're ready? I think in general it'll definitely just help in stamina and conditioning. Just putting this now, getting pushing ourselves to the limit on the practice field right now. When we get out there in a game, we'll be a step ahead of our opponents as far as conditioning goes. So that's what we're working toward. How different is it? Last year, obviously, Rivera was going to be the #1 guy. Everybody was battling for the backup job. What about this year, now that you got the clear shot at the first-team job?
It's been an adjustment for me. I'm starting to kind of realize what I've got to do to get that done, and I'm really focused on that right now. So.
With all the receiver talent that was lost, how important is it for the tight ends to be a big factor in the passing game?
I think it's definitely important. I mean, anytime, not just with the receiver talent lost. I mean, with this offense especially, tight end's going to play a big role in the passing game. So he's got to be on top of it.
I think you're a little nervous going from you got a head coach and offensive coordinator who love the tight end position. Then you got a new staff coming in. You never really know which way it's going to go. But I guess it was a relief to find out that they really like 2 tight end sets too.
Yeah, it certainly was. I didn't know much about him when I first heard about it. That was what I looked up was how these guys use their tight ends. So it was good to see that they had that guy.
I was about to say, watching the ball game or whatever, seeing Kelsey streak like 80 yards down the field for a touchdown and stuff. You see that, you go, okay, they're those guys.
Yeah, that was certainly a little reassuring.
Have you added weight since last year, or just reshaped yourself? Because you definitely look a little bigger.
I've pretty much I've added 3 or 4 pounds, but for the most part, I've just reshaped myself. I've trimmed down a little bit, got a little stronger. So
you were always a guy who kind of has been known as a hard worker. You pushed through that injury and stuff last year, but seeing the opportunity now, is it different at all knowing that without Rivera and Bartholomew there, that the opportunity is so much bigger, I guess, than it was last year?
Yeah, it really is totally different. It's took a little adjusting for me, but I've realized what I got to do to make that happen, and I'm really focused on that right now.
When's your knee get where it wasn't hurting anymore? Because it wasn't any time last year. You were wincing a little bit throughout the year last year.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it still bothers me from time to time, but really, it bothers me after practice. I'll be walking around, feel a little tight, but once I'm getting ice on it, once I get out there and get going, I'm fine. It really stopped. To answer your question, probably still hurt when we came back. It's probably a month and a half ago is when it really started going.
Wes asked you about tight end leading Cincinnati and receiving last year. Just when Coach Jones was hired and we kind of saw what the offense would be, how much did you go back and research what the tight ends did in that offense? How much film have you watched?
Yeah, well, I've watched a lot of film on them. I mean, on Cincinnati's offense because they like I told him when I heard about the hire, I looked at how Cincinnati used their tight ends because
first thing you looked at.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to affect the next 2 years of my life. So I was really interested in that. And then once I saw that, I was like, okay, you know, I think that I'm really gonna like that.
But you had known already coming in that, you know, Michael and Ben were gonna be here. That, you know, it was kind of your time to come in and step in and kind of take over.
Yeah, that's how I've been trying to approach it.
With young quarterbacks, how important is it for the tight ends to become those short and intermediate receivers to help out the young quarterbacks?
I think that's definitely important. I mean, especially with the new offense and everything, got to get those short completions. Those are always good.
Have you seen out of King so far this spring? I know he's a little different. You're maybe more of a classic inline guy. He's a little bit more of an H-back fullback, kind of move around guy. You like that dynamic? What do you see out of him this spring?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of talent. He's an athletic guy, and he's got good stature to him. So he's coming along.
You see that as kind of a good possibility with, you know, I know that Coach Jones likes to keep guys on the field for 10, 11 plays in a row, moving around different spots, a little receiver, a little H-back and stuff. With the different skills that you and Justin have, do you kind of like that dynamic of having?
Yeah, I do. We haven't really. We've still been keeping it pretty simple, 10, 11 personnel for now. But I'm guessing that that's going to be worked in the future.
They said it was anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you talk about when you split out wide and get to run some wide receiver type routes?
Yeah, that's a little different. I mean, I've done that in the past, but not as much as I'm being asked to do now. So, I mean, that's been a little transition for me, but I'm enjoying it.
Did you do that any at Bristol?
Yeah, a little bit, but not too much. I think we ran a wing T offense, so I wasn't doing much of that.
Brendan, we've not maybe seen much as Justin and Barry that they had to set out law this year. Just what have you seen from him, and how tough maybe was it on him to come in early and just kind of the hamstring just kind of kept bothering him for
Yeah. I mean, it's been tough for him, but he's been out here practicing and he's been coming along. So I've seen some good things out of him. So we're all hoping that he'll